I go by the name of Vibra, aka K Rich, aka Killer Kyle, aka K Sweeney, aka Young Wrinkley, aka Hillshire Farms, no cap. Back when I was like 11 or 12, that's when I really got into music. I was a big Rockefeller Dipset fan. Like, you couldn't tell me I wasn't from New York back then. So back when they were like killing things, you know, that's when I first really started buying CDs, and like the first thing I would do was, when I got the CDs, open the book and just read the credits, you know, and just look at who the producers are on these albums, you know. At the same time, around that time period, my best friend, whose name was Ahmad, his brother, you know, is Hayes, or Hayes Benga. Hayes was always playing his beats on Fruity Loops, you know. He'd let me listen to what he was working on, and they would always be like the craziest beats, you know. So, you know, just being around him and watching him make beats and listening to his beats kind of inspired me. Those beats I made back then, they were like, those beats were so trash. Like, I didn't know what I was doing as a producer. Like, I didn't know how to sample. I didn't even know what sampling was, you know. I didn't know anything. I would just use the stock sounds in Fruity Loops, you know, and just, you know, put sounds together and make beats, you know. I made like about 17 beats and just put them on a CD and burned it. And that was like my first little beat tip. My favorite producers growing up were always like Just Blaze and Kanye and like the Heatmakers, and like they all used an MPC. So when I started producing, I just always knew I wanted to use an MPC to make my beat. Basically, I arrange all my beats in the MPC. I use an MPC Studio, and then I use like, I have an SP404. I use that mainly just for like sampling and like some EQ stuff, but everything gets bounced into the MPC. I'll be honest, I have a hard time like reaching out for help or like asking people to help me, you know, but I just figured it'd be easier since I have this vision just to do everything myself. Like, I had this sketch in my sketchbook and I was just flipping through it one day and I was like, this would be perfect for my artwork, you know? So I just like bought some design software. I bought this Affinity Designer and just, you know, scanned my artwork in there and made everything myself. I had a whole different project I was working on prior to when I started working on Delirium. And I was about like a quarter of the way through it. In the middle of working on it, I got sick. And so basically during that time period, I had what they call a paratonsillar abscess, which is like this pus-filled sac. It sounds so gross. It just like developed behind my tonsil on the left side. Kept getting bigger and bigger, and like to the point that I couldn't even talk, you know, but just at the peak of it, I was just in so much pain. And then so there was like 3 nights where I just couldn't sleep. I was just up all night, you know, tossing and turning, like trying to go to sleep. And like I bounced back, you know, I kind of want to capture that experience of just like being in my room, going crazy for like those 3 days. I want to capture that into this beat tape. So the idea of Delirium came from that. Like I didn't actually have delirium, I wasn't delirious, but just that whole idea of just like going crazy, you know, I was like, I kind of wanted to shift my focus to my project to sound like that. Like my biggest problem with making beats is that I start ideas and I just don't finish them. I have so many beats that like I'll get like 80–90% through with it, and then I'll just like start making another beat, you know. So I don't complete my beats, and I never want to go back once I move on to the next one. You know, every day I'm making beats or listening to records, looking for samples, or, you know, doing something every day. Yeah. Okay, how can I put that idea into sound? So I was like, psychedelic rock, you know, psychedelic records, just all those obscure, you know, crazy, spacey sounds. So I was listening to like a lot of psychedelic rock from the 60s and like early 70s, and just watching a lot of just like 60s psychedelic films, you know, just looking for those sounds and just like being inspired by like, the 60s were like a crazy time, like it was just like a really psychedelic time. So it was mostly sober, I'm gonna say, yeah. I moved here from San Diego about 3 years ago. And just before I came here, I just had this intention that I was gonna come to Portland and just like figure out what my like creative outlet would be. Like I was real creative as a kid, you know, but then I kind of got away from that as you get older, you know. So I moved here focused on trying to figure that out, you know. So I was trying a bunch of different things. So I was like painting, I was drawing, you know, I had like a blog, I was writing, I was even like, my friend had like this, I don't know if it was like a screenplay, I don't know what you call it, but he was like trying to develop a TV show, you know. I was gonna be a character in his show. And I'd never acted before, but I was just open to just trying a bunch of different things, you know. Portland has just inspired me with that creative energy. Everyone here, whatever their creative outlet is, they're all just open to like meet other people and collaborate, you know. So like whenever I go to an event, you know, you just talk to people, you know. They're like, oh, you make beats? Oh, I do this, you know, we should somehow bring that all together, you know. Like coming from San Diego, or I feel like it's more exclusive and more just like, you have to be in the crowd or in that scene somehow, you know? So it's just, everything here is much more open and friendly. So if I can just inspire other people, it's to, you know, put the time and the energy into the things you love, like making sure you do those every day, because I know you can get caught up in just like everyday life. Finding time to invest, you know, into the things you love is like what I would like to inspire other people to do. Like I studied a lot of Alchemist and Madlib. Like those are like my two favorite producers, and just like not per se like their sound and how they, you know, make beats, but it was more so just how they bring an entire beat tape together, you know, because like a beat tape is more than just like, oh, these are my best beats, or you could do that for your beat tape, but like the tapes I like the most or have like a theme and like a feel, and like the whole project comes together somehow. So I just like, I listen to them a lot, just trying to learn like, how do I complete a beat tape? Like how do I make this tape like take people on a trip in a sense, you know, rather than just you listen to it and it's just like, you know, beat after beat.